Hey everyone, it's Brian, and this is Chords on a Different Couch. We're in upstate New York at an Airbnb, but I brought my studio along, and we're going to talk about a chord that I know a lot of people have trouble with. This chord goes by many names. Most simply, I can refer to it as a D/F sharp chord, but it's also called a D inverted, D first inversion, D with F sharp in the bass. It's got a lot of different names, and we'll get into those. But let's take a look at the chord itself. I want to make it make more sense to you first. Then we're going to look at some different ways you can finger it, and I'm hoping I can give you an option that you'll like. And finally, I'm going to give you some exercises. Once you do find the option that you like, you can use these exercises to practice this D/F sharp chord and get really good at it. First, let's look at a normal D chord. Hopefully you've done this before and you're pretty used to it. Since we're going to be talking about a D/F sharp chord, we have to talk about that F sharp note. Now, whenever you're on an E string, the second fret is an F sharp. And in a D chord, the highest note is on the high E string, and we are on the second fret. So that's going to be your F sharp. Now, here's the thing about the D/F sharp chord. Whenever you have a slash chord, this is basically what it's saying. That is a D chord with F sharp in the bass. So what it's telling you is we have to have a different bass note. When I play a regular D chord, the bass note or the lowest note is a D. It's that open D string if I'm playing it right. So how do we get this second fret note, this F sharp, to be the lowest note in the chord, the bass note? Well, here's a little trick. Since I'm on a high E string, second fret, and I'm getting an F sharp, I can also go to the low E string and press that second fret note. And that is also an F sharp because they are both E strings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a D chord, but instead of starting my strum at the open D string and playing 4 strings, just in this example, and we'll go over the fingerings in a second, I'm going to reach around with my thumb and I'm going to grab the second fret of the low E string. That's an F sharp note, and it's now in the bass. So if I strum all these strings, that right there is a D with F sharp in the bass. And hopefully that brief theoretical discussion helps you understand why it's called a D with F sharp in the bass and how we can put F sharp in the bass by utilizing the low E string on the second fret. All right, so now that we've got that kind of cleared up and understood, let's talk about the different ways you can finger this chord. As you saw, you can come up over the neck of the guitar and you can grab the second fret low E string with your thumb. That's probably the most convenient fingering. It's really versatile. And the good thing is you can hold your D chord while you do it. But the problem is not everyone can grab that for whatever reason. Sometimes your hand's not big enough, or just the way you're positioned on the guitar is just not comfortable. So let's look at another option. Let's start from a regular D again. All right, and everyone's coming off except for the ring finger. Okay, so leave your ring finger on the third fret of the B string. I'm going to put my middle finger down on the second fret of the G. That's where my pointer finger used to be. All right, so I'm replacing it with my middle finger. Look what that does. My first finger now is free to put F sharp in the bass. And let's talk about the strumming a little bit here. Just strum all the strings. That's going to add an open E string to your D chord, and I think that gives it a cool, modern sound. I can't think of many songs where I play that open E and it sounds bad. So you're probably going to be just fine. Just go ahead and strum the strings. What you're going to want to do, though, when you first play this chord is check your notes. So make sure that the low F sharp is ringing. All right, that one sounds good. Let's go to the A. Now you can hear the way I'm doing this chord, I'm muting the A string. You can do that. I do that on purpose because I think it cleans up the sound of the chord. I really like it. If you want an open A, let's just fix the posture of our hand, make some room, make sure we're not touching that string with the fat of our pointer finger. And there you have it, it's in there. It's just really thick, so I mute it. If you're having trouble getting that open A to ring, it's actually not a bad thing. Just go ahead and mute it and you'll have a cleaner chord. All right, let me check my D note. Yep, it's perfect. Let me check my G string note where my middle finger is. Sounding good. 3rd fret B string with my ring. Sounds fine. And then this open E string. Again, that's optional. If you're muting that for whatever reason, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just if you're gonna mute something or not mute it, just make sure you're doing it on purpose. That's my advice. All right, so there's your alternate fingering number 1. I love the sound of that, so that sounds great. Some people have trouble with this, so I'm gonna give you another option. Let's keep everyone where they are except the ring finger. Let's come off with the ring and let's grab the 3rd fret of the B string with our pinky. And the strumming is the same. You can strum all the strings, and I should have mentioned this earlier. You can stop at the B string if you want. That's a super clean version of our D with F sharp in the bass. But this pinky move right here can be really helpful to people. You know, the pinky is just naturally farther away from the middle finger, so it just makes this stretch much easier. The only thing is that there are some chord changes that get a little harder if you use your pinky as opposed to your ring finger here. All right, so just know that you're trading convenience for comfort. Those are your 3 options for fingering this chord. Now, let's do a few exercises that are going to help us work on this. Exercise 1A is going to be G major, D with F sharp in the bass, and you're going to pick the version that you like the most. I'm going with the thumb over version. And then we're going to do an E minor. Now, this is actually an E minor 7. Now, I'm choosing E minor 7 for a reason, and that reason is this 3rd fret note on the B string. Whether you're grabbing that with your ring finger or your pinky, it shares that note with D with F sharp in the bass. And so it makes changing between those 2 chords a lot easier. So I would go with this E minor 7 chord if you want. You can do the regular E minor chord, but your fingers are going to have to jump around a lot more. So exercise 1A is going to be like this. 2, 3, 4, G, D with F sharp in the bass, E minor 7, 2, 3, 4, G, D with F sharp in the bass, E minor 7, 2, 3, one more time, G, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, E minor 7, 2, 3, 4. Exercise 1B is going to go in the opposite direction. So we're going to go E minor 7, D with F sharp in the bass, G, 2, 3, 4, E minor 7, D with F sharp in the bass, G, 2, 3, one more time, E minor 7, D, F sharp in the bass, G, 2, 3, 4. Exercise 2. Let's do the same kind of rhythm. We're going to go G major. We're going to go, of course, D with F sharp in the bass. And we're going to go with an A major as our 3rd chord. So 2, 3, 4, G, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, A major, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, A, 2, 3, one more time, G, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, A, 2, 3, 4. Exercise 2B is going to go A, D with F sharp in the bass, to G. So 2, 3, 4, A, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, G, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, G, 2, 3, one more time, A, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, G, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and let's do exercise 3. There's just going to be one version of this. And for the D with F sharp in the bass, I'm going to do a different version. I've been doing the thumb this whole time. But like I said, for all these exercises, pick the version you like the best. You'll just have to figure out different fingerings and different moves for the chord changes. But for this one, we're going to go regular D. Okay? Then we're going to go D, F sharp in the bass. And I'm going to use the pinky version. And then we're going to go to G. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, D, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, G, 2, 3, 4, and D, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, G, 2, 3, 4, and D, 2, D, F sharp in the bass, and G, 2, 3, 4. I finally landed that G. So there you have it. That's an explanation of the D with F sharp in the bass chord. Now you kind of understand why it's called that and what the critical note is. It's that second fret note on the low E. That puts F sharp in the bass. We talked about 3 different ways you can finger this chord, and you're going to have to pick the one that you like the most. I'll also say that it kind of depends on the song and the chord progression. Sometimes one version will work better than another in certain scenarios. And then finally, we ended with a few exercises. And I tried to play them slow. If it was still too fast, it just kind of went by you. Just go ahead and rewind the video and practice those. And if you have to, memorize the chord changes, stop the video, practice them at your own pace, and then come back to me and see if you can keep up with my exercises. But I think everything in this video is going to make you an expert on this chord. I hope that helped you. It's a super fun chord. It's beautiful, and it's used all over music. So you really got to get comfortable with this one. Good luck, and I will see you in the next video.